Welcome to TTMCast, your sports collectibles podcast. Sponsored by CGC Cards, card grading all in one place. CGC Cards is devoted to expert grading of collectible cards, including TCGs, sports cards, and non-sports cards. Sponsored by Collects, the free app for scanning and valuing your cards. Use the app to build your collection and buy and sell with other collectors. Turn the hobby into your side hustle. And by sportscollectorsdaily.com. If it happens in the hobby, you'll find it on sportscollectorsdaily.com. And sponsored by gemrate.com. The latest grading statistic from the 4 major grading companies is just a click away. Visit gemrate.com. It's free. And now, here's our host, Drew Pelto.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again here to the TTMCast podcast, your sports collectibles podcast, where we cover all things related to TTM, cards, autographs, collecting, anything in the sports collectibles world that comes to mind. My name is Drew Pelto. I am the new host of this show here, starting in 2024, season number 6 of the show, episode number 1 here on January 13th. We're a nationally ranked sports collectibles podcast, and I'm joined here by Troy Rutter, TTMTroy, as you may know him as. He's been a guest on the show back when Jeff Baker was hosting it. I think, probably a good 3 times or so, plus stood in as co-host a few times, too.
I believe so, yeah. About 3 times. That sounds about right.
So, Troy, just tell a little bit about yourself. I know you've got, you're pretty active on YouTube and Twitter and all those in the past. Just, where can people find you at online?
Yeah, you can find me online. Pretty much YouTube is where I hang out most of the time, and that's just with the handle TTM Autograph. And you could also find me on Instagram with TTM Autograph. I was too late to get the Twitter account. Someone hasn't posted since like 2006 on that thing, and I keep waiting for that to free up. But pretty much TTM Autograph, pretty much everywhere, including I have some stuff up on Amazon as well. So
nice. Yeah, I kind of had the opposite problem. I got on stuff before I became DFW Grapher, so there's a bunch of sites where I'm like Hockey Brawler or something like that, or any other thing like that. But
oh, nice.
Yep. So yeah, this is our first episode back in a while, and I mean, just right off the top here, a memorial to Jeff Baker. I mean, he was the founder of the show. He was the host of it for the first 5 seasons, and he's done so much for the TTM community. And losing him back in December was just such a huge loss. And the amount of tributes that came pouring out of the collectibles community was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had I was supposed to meet up with Jeff at one of the nationals, and I believe it was one where he spent most of the nationals in the hospital, like two years ago or something. I think we were even in the same hotel, and so I was really looking forward to it. And sadly, we never got to meet, but it was always fun to talk to him, whether it was on the podcast or through email. So definitely took me a little aback when I got the news, and glad to be here to continue part of what you and him had started.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, was that after news of his death came about, I mean, the everybody that I talked to when it came to like Les Wolf to Clemente Lisi, they both said, if you continue the show, we would love to help out with it still and continue onward. And I'm like, if the family says yes, please do, then I will continue it. And they were almost adamant that I continue it seemed like. So it was really good to, have that support right away to say, yes, continue it on, do your thing with it, and, keep on going with it. And so, we still have Ruthie is still helping out. You heard her voice in the intro. You'll hear her in between all the segments and everything there. She did kind of the transition episode there as a memorial to her dad, and doing the final list of his successes, the final Vern Rapp minute, all that kind of stuff. So it's great to have their support on continuing this onward as well, for sure.
Definitely.
So as we said, the future of the show, I'm continuing on as host. Troy's going to be doing a lot of the co-hosting here. I know you've got some basketball commitments over the next few weeks, so we'll have my friend Lee Alexander in as the guest co-host for those ones.
I'm coaching 8th grade basketball again this year, so keeping me busy.
That takes me back. I played 7th and 8th grade, and we had the world's worst team in 8th grade. So yeah, it's nightmares there, and I'm sure you'll do a lot better than I ever did with it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. But we've got we're going to scale back to a weekly show. I know Jeff and I were doing twice a week there for a while, but I think with scaling back a little bit here to start, once we, if we get more content, we may go back to it twice weekly kind of a thing there, because long shows can just be kind of overkill. And that was one of the things I talked to a lot of other listeners and collectors about. They said, yeah, the show was great, but it just ran so long sometimes. So I'm hoping to keep these things to maybe an hour or so here from here on and go from there. We kind of want to keep it collector focused and TTM first more than anything. Because I mean, it's right there in the title after all, TTMcast. So I think that should be number one on everything we handle here.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the shorter shows, so to speak, they really help as far as, you know, a lot of people listen on the way to work or on the way home from work. And most people, I think, unless you're in LA like I used to be, try to keep those commutes under an hour. So try to fit in for your morning or evening commute. I think that's definitely a good plan.
Yeah. You're in Iowa now, right? Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, nice. I was born in Cedar Rapids. So when I saw Ames on there, I'm like, hey, I know where that's at. So.
Oh yeah, Cedar Rapids. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, just getting started with everything. Any pickups at all other than TTM stuff? We'll get to the TTM successes later on, but any fun pickups for your collection here at all in the last few weeks at all you found?
Well, I'm working on a complete signed set of 1991 Don Russ.
Oh yeah,
and it's a 770 card set, and I'm down to probably I think it's the last 38.
Wow.
And so I'm getting into a lot of really expensive living legends currently. Yep. And I did pick up, it's been delayed because of the snow, a Craig Biggio that I was waiting for. And hopefully that will be coming. It's actually lost in the USPS mail. It hasn't been scanned for about 10 days. So I'm hoping that comes in. Other than that, I did purchase I believe it was a Dave Justice recently for that set. So
that's a fun one.
Narrowing in. Yeah.
That was the first pack I ever bought when I first got started collecting. Was a rack pack of 91 Don Russ Series 1 there. So definitely a set that's close to my heart right there. So cool to see that you're working on that. Not a whole lot of pickups for me over the last couple of weeks. Just a couple of eBay pickups. And actually, I have one that's coming in the mail. Says it's going to be delivered today. So hopefully we'll have that there, and I can talk more about that next week. It's going to be another set edition for me there. So
oh, nice.
Yeah. This week's show, not going to have any interviews at all this week. Just kind of getting our footing back under us. But I have talked to Les Wolf. We'll have him on probably next week's show. So we'll have him getting back into the swing of things as well. But we will still continue with all of the regular segments here. We'll have Baker's Dozen to lead things off. We'll talk about all the any kind of news from the hobby here from the previous week. Making the Grade, covering some info from the grading world. Stamp of approval, where we'll give our thumbs up to something from the previous week. So I forgot to mention that, Troy, see if you had something for it, but hopefully you'll have something there once we get to it. Gives you a little time to think about it at least. We've got the Vern Rapp Minute, covering any deaths in the world of sports and celebrity and music and movies and politics and anybody that like that. And of course, as we just mentioned a little bit ago, our TTM returns. You can always contact us via email. Troy, what's the email here?
The email for us is just ttmcast@yahoo.com.
Excellent. And if you want to reach out to me directly, it's dfwgrapher@gmail.com. We got the intro out of the way here, so let's go ahead and move on to our first segment, Baker's Dozen.
Baker's Dozen, sponsored by sportscollectorsdaily.com.
Smart collectors turn to Sports Collectors Daily to stay up to date. From new releases to incredible collections hitting the auction block, news from inside the business of sports collectibles, and much more, Sports Collectors Daily has it, all with no subscription cost. SC Daily also delivers a live look at the most watched sports card auctions on eBay for every sport. Sign up to get the headlines in your email for free, or just visit the website whenever you like. With 16,000 stories in the archive going back 16 years, there is always plenty to read at sportscollectorsdaily.com.
Baker's Dozen is a news summary of anything that's come up in the world of collectibles over the previous week, and we've got plenty to talk about here. A lot of big news that's come out. First thing to mention, we still have Collects on as a sponsor. As far as I know, I need to talk with Ted Mann over there again, make sure this is still ongoing, but they've had a $10 coupon here that for TTMcast listeners, just send your name and your Collects username to us, email address as well. We'll send that on to them, and they'll get you a $10 coupon to use in their marketplace. A lot of great stuff available on there, so definitely take advantage of that if you haven't yet. Also, remind everybody to check out my weekly article on Sports Collectors Daily. I'm picking up where Jeff left off with that as well, just covering anything from the TTM world and just any kind of an autograph topic that I can come up with on there. So really happy continuing on with that. Keeps the writing muscles flexed there at least. So glad to be able to continue onward with that one. So big hobby news here to start things out here, Troy. We've got the Topps 2024 Baseball Series 1 design has finally come out. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't.
It's interesting. I'll put it that way. Yeah, it's kind of a reference to 1986, which seems, I mean, kind of weird because there's no like a 30-year, not like a 30 or 40-year anniversary of it or anything like that. But it has this kind of black top and white bottom on the frame there with it. Up at the top, the team, you have the team name written at the top of it, and it's written almost kind of like a neon light kind of a font. It's kind of hard to describe there, but when you see it, you'll look and you go, okay, yeah, that looks like it's came out of like a, I don't know, Taco Bell, hey, we're open late commercial or something like that.
Nice. As long as you can read the player name, they had that one a couple of years ago where I needed a magnifying glass to see who it actually was on the card. So
it is actually readable from what I could tell. They had the name,
nice.
The position, and the team logo down at the bottom. So team name at the top and logo at the bottom. Release date is set to be a month from now, February 14th. So right on Valentine's Day. So perfect gift for the girlfriend or wife to you, or from you to the wife or girlfriend if she's a collector out there, for anybody there. So my wife's already looking at me, shaking her head like you don't even think about getting me that. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We do have a couple top rookie cards that have already come out, and they've shown what they're going to look like. It's Ellie De La Cruz and Evan Carter are kind of going to lead the way out of that one. So definitely excited to see those. I'm hoping I can get a hold of the De La Cruz one before I go down to spring training.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Got some crime and punishment news in the hobby here as well.
Yeah, insert the old Law and Order dun dun here.
Yes.
But the accused T206 forger Cord Monroe. I think this has been in the works for about 2 years. Was when things first came to light. He's also known as David Scott. He is the one that was accused of buying, I think it was 14 different T206 cards and signing them himself. And some of those were actually ended up being authenticated. Well, his sentence has finally been served, so to speak. He will serve 5 years probation and have to repay about $75,000 in restitution to those that, both, I assume the auction companies, whether that's our favorite eBay or whatever, as well as the victims. So, when the scandal broke, it was like, well, some of these are actually authenticated, and authentication is always in the news. People like it, people hate it, but at least we got some of these T206s, settled out of the news and probation. If that's the best we could do for signing a card, I think that will keep them out of the limelight and off the auction sites anyway for a long time.
One definitely hopes so. And yeah, no, like you said, I mean, authentication is, for the most part, it's good, I think. I mean, you've got a lot of experts out there that know their stuff, but if you get a good faker out there, occasionally some unfortunately are going to sneak through, and literally that's what happened on a couple of these.
Yep.
Got some better auction news, fortunately, here, though, from Robert Edwards Auction. Their current January Encore auction is running for another week now. It's going to be running through the 21st of January, but they've got some pretty cool stuff on there. One of only 3 SGC 10 Steve Young rookie cards out there. That's always a tough grade because it's the design that's got those green and white stripes, and those show some border wear on them very easily. But what I think is the coolest thing in there, a 1842 autograph on a receipt from Alexander Cartwright, who is credited by the Hall of Fame as being pretty much the inventor of baseball as we know it, first codifying the rules and everything. So really cool to see an autograph of his out there. But 2023 was Robert Edwards Auction's best year in their 30-year history. And if they're starting out 2024 with items like that, they're going to be in for another great year, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. Also, an auction coming up. It's the Dynasty Collection. So, a set of 6 Michael Jordan shoes from the NBA championships, which are collectively known as the Dynasty Collection, are set to go up for auction on February 2nd. And these shoes, man, they are estimated to bring in between $7 to $10 million for these Michael Jordan sneakers. So they're also being accompanied by the photographs that show Jordan wearing just one sneaker after each game. So that's going to be one to watch. I will not be participating in that auction. I'm sorry to say, but if you are so interested in looking at that or following that, I'm sure we will be mentioning what the outcome of that is on a future show, but that starts on February 2nd.
it's going to be an interesting one there. I mean, especially that this is such a unique photo that comes with each one there as well. So, I mean, even that alone would possibly, fetch what, 5-6 figures on Jordan stuff. I mean, that's his stuff is always huge. And you throw in the shoes along with it. It's like, wow, this is it's an interesting collection to say the least on that.
Yeah, and the photographs are one-of-one photos that were taken
Yes.
by Bill Smith, I believe. So.
Oh, wow. Well, another big basketball name in the news here as well. LeBron James has signed an autograph deal with Fanatics. After 20 years of exclusivity to Upper Deck, I mean, he would not sign with Panini for an autograph deal. Shown on cards and such, he could have no jersey cards, but no autographs. Well, now he's made the jump from Upper Deck over to Fanatics, and the very first one is going to be a one-of-one auto of him and his son, LeBron Jr., Bronny James and LeBron together on a card, a dual auto that'll be in 2023-2024 Bowman U Chrome, which is set to come out here very soon.
Nice. Yeah, the 2023 Bowman U Chrome basketball is set to come out on January 17th. Now, this has 4 cards per pack with 24 packs per box. And in this one, there's a possibility of 2 autos in the box, 4 refractors, 1 shimmer refractor, and 4 other refractors or variations. And that box is coming out, like I said, on January 17th. And the pre-sale prices, if you go and get in on that now, are about $170 across the different vendors for that.
I've got a feeling that price is only going to go up too if nobody finds the that one-of-one right away. So
right.
Get in on that now if you're a basketball collector, that's for sure. Some other Bowman releases that are coming up, or at least one other one here. Bowman's Best Baseball coming out the same day here, January 17th. You're going to see 5 cards per pack on that with 12 packs per box. 4 chrome autos per box there. So if you're an autograph hunter, you get some really good stuff right in there. Pre-sale price on that running about $300 right now.
And we're having kind of a theme here on January 17th, aren't we, Drew? So 2023 Panini Absolute Football. Those are coming out, as I said, also on January 17th. Those have 5 cards per pack with 3 packs per box. And located in there, there's 1 Rookie Premier Materials autograph, 2 regular autographs, and 2 other memorabilia cards per pack. So those are going to be going on sale for about $150 pre-sale.
My mistake on that should be per box that was in there, but yeah, I'll correct that from here on. This is my first time having to put these together, but yeah. Panini Court Kings basketball also coming out there. And if you haven't figured out yet, that is also coming midweek on January 17th on there as well. You're going to see 10 cards per pack with 1 pack per box. The exact breakdown, they say, is going to be 4 base cards, 1 autograph, 1 memorabilia, 1 rookie card, 1 parallel, and 2 inserts in each of those 1-pack boxes there. I didn't grab a pre-sale price on that, but I mean, you could just go on like Dave Adams, for example, or a Steel City prices. That's where I tend to grab all the prices from on these, and they tend to run about the same amount there. So if you're really interested in that product, go and check it out through there, and you'll find all the info off of those sites. I've got some upcoming shows here as well. We'll talk about at least one big one that's upcoming next weekend.
Yeah, January 18th to 21st. That would be the Dallas Card Show down there in Allen, Texas. So down in the southern United States. Now, this is actually the largest show series in the country. And looking at some of these names, you could get Evan Carter for about 125 to 150. Marcus Simeon, he's going to be going for about 125 to 150 as well. Josh Young, 125 to 150. Cody Bradford, 40 to 50. Bob Lilly, I believe that's Mr. Cowboy, right?
Yes, exactly.
About $30 for him. And Kenny Gant, the Shark, about $25. And rented out the offerings here that we wanted to mention was Rocket Ismail for $10. Now, like I said, those are January 18th to 21st at the Dallas Card Show. It's about $15 admission for the daily or $35 for the weekend. And they also have an all-access pass, which I am always a fan of, for about $90. And you can find more details on that at the Dallas or just DallasCardShow.com. So that is going to be pretty huge for Rangers and Cowboys fans, it sounds like.
It is. I mean, that show is always, it's really vastly growing. And I gotta say though, those autograph prices, they're a little bit more than I would be looking to spend for sure. But Bob Lilly, at least, I mean, that's a Hall of Famer right there, and you're getting a very affordable price on a guy like him.
Yeah, $30 is not bad.
Yeah. We actually have a listener question as well. I got an email on this just the other day. Troy, have you ever gotten Andy Messersmith by mail at all?
Oh, I did not look that up, but I don't believe so.
He's a tough one, and the reason I got asked this one was that this is from a question, like I said, from Nick Reese. Says he's trying to complete the 1979 Topps Yankees team set and needs Messersmith, and he knew that I was successful on him last year. And Messersmith has always been a tough one. And he said, well, I was wondering if you could provide me any pointers that might help with donation messaging, because apparently Messersmith returned his request last year with a note that he doesn't sign, but he does occasionally. And I got him a year ago. Jeff got him around the same time. And I know even if you haven't gotten Andy Messersmith before, I know you've landed a few really tough ones before. I know Doyle Alexander was a big one where I saw that you got him, and I'm like, how did you do this? I've been needing him for a while there. But what kind of advice can you offer somebody on something like this, for, writing to somebody who maybe occasionally signs, but is an otherwise very tough signature?
Yeah, my rule of thumb on that is I'm a big typer for letters. I know that's a divisive thing in the community, whether you type or handwrite. But when it comes to someone that you're really looking to complete a set, or someone who's a tough signer, there's no question you need to write a handwritten letter of request. And you don't try to do some sob story. You be truthful. If you're trying to complete a set, go ahead and tell them that you complete a set, but find a couple fun facts to write to them about. And if you're one of the TTMers that sends like the whole questionnaire, you might want to skip that questionnaire for that particular one, because you're looking for the autograph. And if they see a 10 question questionnaire and they're a tough signer, that would probably go into the maybe not, or maybe later, and that later could be five years from now. But what about you? Do you have any tips for those tough signers that you've gotten back?
Well, when it came to Messersmith, it honestly was a lot of luck. I just saw that he happened to have a few successes there recently, so I'm like, I better just strike while the iron's hot and everything, and send it out right then. But I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Mention something specific about their career. If you saw them play in a game, mention that. Mention some stats from it or something like that. I know with Fred Lynn, I mentioned seeing his final multi-home run game on TV when I was visiting family up in Michigan when he was with the Tigers. With Tony Oliva, I got a good signature out of him, because he has his good T and his bad T. His bad T is like the one he'll just give to anybody. The fancier T is when he really likes your letter or signs in person. And I mentioned the fact that he had batted the second most times out of any player in Major League history against George Brunette, who used to be my dad's next door neighbor as a kid. And so I mentioned some of the specific at-bats that he had in there. Got the real fancy T on that one for it. So yeah, sometimes it just comes down to letter content, and make sure you can show that you're a fan, that you're not just out for a free autograph or something like that. You're actually a legitimate fan, that you have a good reason for asking them, and your chances are going to definitely increase on guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, just doing that would probably put you ahead of, especially the ones who hardly sign, half of the submissions that they get.
Yeah. So there you go. So hopefully that helps you out, Nick, and hopefully helps out some of our other listeners as well. Thanks again for your question. And if you have any questions for us, send me at dfwgrapher.com, or Troy, they can send it to our show email at
TTMcast@yahoo.com.
There you go. So let's move on. We'll go into next up. It is Making the Grade.
Making the Grade is sponsored by CGC Cards. All card grading, all in one place. Certified Guarantee Company, CGC, devoted to the expert grading of collectible cards. Visit cgccards.com today.
Making the Grade is where we talk a little bit about trends in the grading world that are going on right now. A lot of the stuff comes from gemrate.com. Big thanks to them for working with us on the show and getting us some total numbers here on everything. So, Troy, why don't you give us the rundown here on what things have looked like here in the previous week, January 4th through the 10th?
Yeah, so January 4th through the 10th, it was, a pretty, starting off the new year with some PSA grading. They got in about 239.7 K cards. So 239,000 or yeah, 239,000, almost 240,000 cards. So that was a 26% increase over their previous period. SGC had 26.1K, which was a 9% increase. CGC kind of went down 15% with 18.3K. And Beckett stayed pretty neutral for about $10,500. And so in total, about 294.6 thousand cards.
That's a good number right there. Especially, I mean,
Wow.
you see PSA coming back off of that. They're the 26% increase. You got to remember the previous week was that spot right in between Christmas and New Year's. So I'm sure a lot of people taking some time off there. A lot of just kind of, a couple days off that are probably fixed into there. So
and
good
I know
to see, though, they bounce back.
I know I bought a bunch of card savers over Christmas. So that number is going to increase just by me sending some in. So.
We've got the big three as well, courtesy of gemrate.com. This is an exclusive to TTMcast where we talk about the top three risers and fallers as individual players on the TTM, or excuse me, on the grading, on the grading every week here. But Roki Sasaki is the big winner every week. And talking to Ryan over there, he said, yeah, I had to look up who this guy was, and I had to look him up as well. But probably a new name to a lot of people out there, unless you follow Japanese baseball closely, but he's this fireballer that's supposed to be the next big thing out of there. And his cards increased 208% in the number of them graded over the previous week. In the basketball world, Chet Holmgren up 69%, and Caleb Williams from NFL, or soon to be the NFL, is in college right now, 52% increase on him. But going back to Sasaki, it says 2023 Bowman Nippon Professional Baseball League card number 133, graded 200 times last week. So kind of interesting to see that he's getting very heavily noticed here, and we'll see if he lives up to the hype once he gets over on this side of the ocean.
Yeah, definitely. And falling this week was Patrick Mahomes, who's only up 9% this week. Jalen Green, who didn't have any change, and Cole Caulfield, who was down 6%. So again, as you said, we want to thank gemrate.com for providing all those numbers, and it's really, really interesting to see those from week to week.
Yes. All right. So once again, that covers everything on the grading world here and making the grade. Next up, we'll go to our TTMcast stamp of approval.
I bet you're wondering who earned this week's TTMcast stamp of approval.
Stamp of approval is something that Jeff came up with to say, hey, we're not just interested in sports and collectibles. We've got other things to our life outside of this world. So Troy and I will give our thumbs up to something from the previous week. You never know what it's going to be out of us. And well, for me, for this week, I'm going to keep it in the collectibles world. And that is, I just want to send out a huge thank you to everybody in the collecting community at large over the last couple months. After Jeff's death, the support we've received, all of the memories and such that have come in about him, and just the ability and interest in keeping the show going that people have shown. They're like, oh yeah, I'm hoping this continues on, and being able to tell them that yes, we are going to be back, and now we are here. So a big thank you to everybody out there for just their continued support, and just continuing on as listeners, as viewers, as readers, anything like that, for anything that we're doing out here. So yeah, my stamp of approval for the week is just a general one like that out to the collecting community at large for everything over the last couple of weeks.
Well, I definitely want to echo that. The support that's been coming out for the TTMcast and for Jeff has been just phenomenal since everything happened in December. But I'll have maybe a personal stamp of approval here. We have had some major storms we had 2 storms this week, snowstorms here in the Midwest, and my stamp of approval, I guess, would be to my neighbor to the west, who plowed me out both days. So I want to give my neighbor a stamp of approval for helping me out those days, so I could actually get out a little bit and not be totally stranded inside my house. So
it's always great to have somebody with a plow nearby that can help you get you out, or even just shoveling abilities like that. I know down here in Texas, we don't get that much, but growing up in Ohio, oh yeah, there's a lot of times where we had to get out there and get the shovels going, and you'd have somebody coming down the street and they just drive into your driveway and say, hey, $10 and I'll plow you out. And we're like, there you go right ahead, please.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so there's the TTMcast stamp for approval for this week. Next up, we're going to have the Vern Rapp Minute.
to the memory of Mr. Vern Rapp, who is a former Major League ball player and manager. Jeff Baker wrote to him once and did not know that he had already passed away. And so we provide this as a service to our fellow collectors to let them know when anybody has passed away in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics, anybody like that. Just so anybody you might consider TTMing, so you don't repeat our mistakes, basically. So got several to cover here from the previous few weeks here. Can try to keep it to the more recent ones, but there have been a few kind of significant ones definitely worth noting as well from previous few weeks too. We lost Wendell Harris this past week. Wendell Harris was a defensive back and kicker for the Colts, the Giants, from 1962 to 1967. Before that, he was at Louisiana State. He was a running back and a backup to Billy Cannon when he was the Heisman winner. He played the 1964 NFL Championship with the Colts against the Cleveland Browns. Excellent TTMer through October. Wendell Harris was 83 years old.
And we also have Sam Silas. He was a defensive tackle from 1963 to 1970 for teams such as the Cardinals, the Giants, and the 49ers. He actually played in 100 games and scored 20 sacks and was a member of the 1965 Pro Bowl. Now, Sam, he wasn't a big TTMer, but we wanted to recognize him today as well. He was 83 years old.
We also lost Dr. Frank Ryan. Frank was a quarterback from 1958 to 1970. Played for the LA Rams, the Cleveland Browns, and the Washington Redskins. Part of the, I just mentioned 1964 NFL Championship a moment ago with Wendell Harris playing in that one. Frank Ryan was the quarterback for the Browns in that game. He also played in 3 Pro Bowls. And, when you have doctor in front of your name, you're clearly a pretty smart guy. And Dr. Frank Ryan was accepted to Yale before deciding to attend TCU. Got a PhD in mathematics at Rice and taught at Case Western Reserve University near Cleveland during the offseasons. He was an excellent TTMer through the year 2020 or so. Dr. Frank Ryan was 87 years old.
And we also have another excellent TTMer, Mr. Ken Bowman. He was a center from 1964 to 73 for the Packers and a 2-time Super Bowl winner. So he was like I said, a really good TTMer over the years up and through about last October. So Mr. Bowman was 81 years old.
We lost Franz Beckenbauer. Any soccer fans out there will know that name. Nicknamed Der Kaiser. He was a sweeper and really kind of revolutionized that position in the soccer world, playing for, especially for his home country of Germany there. He was a 2-time Euro Footballer of the Year, one of only 3 people ever to win a World Cup as both a player and a coach, and one of 9 to win the World Cup, the European Cup, and the Ballon d'Or. If you're an international TTMer, he was an excellent signer, signed up through most of 2022, actually. Franz Beckenbauer was 78 years old.
And this next one definitely came across my radar, Mr. Ryan Miner, who was only 49 years old when he passed away. He was a third baseman for, the Orioles and the Expos from 1998 to 2001. I think I had gotten him 2 or 3 times. He was an excellent TTMer through last May, and he is probably best known for ending Nolan Ryan's streak for games played, I believe. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Cal Ripken streak.
Oh, was it Cal Ripken streak? Who did I say? I said Nolan Ryan. I don't know what I was thinking there, but yeah, he was 49 years old.
Yep. We lost Dick Bennett here recently. He was a pitcher for the 1967 Philadelphia Phillies, and he was a 1-inning wonder. He pitched a single inning against the Dodgers on September 16th of 1967. Allowed 2 hits, 1 run in that time, and no decision in relief. And that was it. No major league career after that. Pitched a bit in the minors, but despite that short career, he was an excellent TTMer, signed all the way up through December of 2023. Dick Bennett was 79 years old.
Next, we have Billy Gardner, who played from 1954 to 63 for the Giants, the Orioles, the Senators, the Twins, the Yankees, and the Red Sox. And then he went on to be a manager for the Twins and the Royals. So he was actually a very, very good TTMer up until about January of 2022 is when the successes kind of started to fall off. But Billy Gardner was 96 years old.
Just this past week, just a couple of days ago, I got a text from my friend Chris saying that we had lost Bud Harrelson. Harrelson's been battling, I believe it's Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, one of those for the last about 5 years or so. But everybody knows Bud Harrelson as the shortstop for the Mets, along with the Phillies and the Rangers for a little bit. Also managed the Mets for a couple of years, and he was a two-time All-Star. And I think the big thing that everybody remembers him for was dropping the glove and fighting Pete Rose out there at second base after a hard slide once. So definitely a feisty competitor out there, as well as 15 years as a major league ball player there. He was an excellent TTMer through about 2017 when the Alzheimer's started to set in there, and his family said, "Yeah, we're going to go ahead and end the signing by mail there." But excellent TTMer long before that. Bud Harrelson was 79 years old.
Next, we have Reggie Savage turning to a hockey player currently. If you've seen some of my returns on YouTube as of late, I'm doing a lot of hockey.
Yes.
But he played from 1990 to 94 for the Capitals, the Nordics, and he actually scored his very first goal of his career on a penalty shot, no less. So that's kind of a fun fact about him. And, he also was kind of active in the minor leagues through 2005 and a fairly decent signer TTM. He was 53 years old.
Here's one that straddles the line between hockey and movies. We lost Connie Madigan this past week. Madigan played only a single season in the NHL, and not even a full season at that. It was a 72-73 season with the St. Louis Blues. He got into 20 games with 3 assists and 25 penalty minutes, and this was at the age of 39. So this dude was my age, making his NHL debut. He's the oldest rookie in NHL history. After his playing career, he played Ross Mad Dog Madison in the movie Slapshot. Appears in kind of that the final championship game scene there when I think it was the Broome County Dusters they were playing against, whichever team it was, brought in all the old time goons, and he was one of the ones they brought in for it as Mad Dog Madison there. But he had a very long minor league career. Played for Portland in the Western Hockey League before the name WHL became a Canadian Junior League there. He was a rare TTM. There are a couple of successes from him over the years, but Connie Madigan, 89 years old. So oldest rookie in NHL history, and goes another 50 years after that.
Next, we have Eric Montross. He was active in the basketball world from 1994 to 2002 for the Celtics, the Mavs, the 76ers, the Pistons, and the Raptors. So he kind of made his rounds around the professional circuit there and was the 1993 national champion at UNC. And according to what Drew has gracefully put up for me here, he was an excellent TTMer. I never did much basketball. I have a bunch of cards that I want to start sending out, but definitely sad to lose Eric Montross, who was 52 years old.
I'm right with you on that I've got a lot of basketball here, and I've looked through and found all the good signers, and I just haven't put the pen to paper yet. So I'm hopefully I'll do like you there, and hopefully we'll have some basketball success to talk about.
There you go.
Next year. Yep. Last one for the week, we lost David Soul this week. David Soul was an actor, best known for playing Hutch in Starsky and Hutch, a TV show there back in the 1970s, one of those top shows of the era right there. David Soul was 80 years old. So once again, condolences to any friends and family of those people, and to anybody who's lost anyone this week. Our thoughts are with you. And so let's go ahead and move on now to the main reason why we're all here, our TTM returns.
Was our mailbox full this week? Let's take a look at this week's TTM returns.
All right, well, Troy, you were just mentioning a bit ago there that it may have been off the air before we got back onto here that you've taken a little bit of a hiatus here in the last year that gotten and that's definitely understandable. I know that you were super, super active for quite a while there. So I just need a year off there, but I know I've seen on your YouTube channel you have got a few successes over the last few months at least. And any that you want to mention here real quick while you've got them in mind?
Well, I've actually been catching up with a bunch from late 2022 is what I've kind of been posting, but just real quick, some of the ones that I've been talking about was Ted Donato, who played for the LA Kings, the St. Louis Blues, and the New York Rangers, and also Jim Bullinger, who he still is a really great TTMer, so you could look him up. and do send some requests out to him, as well as Chris Carpenter, who signed 3 of 3 for me. So I'm one of those guys that usually only sends maybe 2. If I do 3, it's pushing it, and if I do 4, usually I do 4 for hockey players in Canada, just because I don't want to spend the money. But I try to do a 2 of 2. So the fact that Chris Carpenter signed 3 of 3 was kind of a big deal for me to send out 3. But I know you had a quite lot of TTMs to go over today. So why don't I head it off to you?
All right. Yeah, I've been still tracking everything there in between. I mean, this is all from our last show, so it hasn't been a lot like from a week to week basis, but overall, when you lump it all together, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it's been, yeah, I've got let's see, about 19 here to talk about. So I'll try to blaze through them kind of quick here, though, just so we're not taking up a whole ton of time at the end of the show here. But some big names you'll find in here. Dan Deerdorf was the first one that I got back in. Of course, he's a Football Hall of Famer, former commentator. And I was able to get a hold of his rookie card at a very reasonable price. I think it was under $5 I paid for the card. And his signing fee is, I think, like $5 or $10. I think I sent 10 on there and came back beautifully, signed with his Hall of Fame year at the bottom. It only took about a week or so on the turnaround on that. Another footballer was Mike Wood, who was, I believe, either a punter or a kicker. Came back very quickly as well. He signed, I think it was 2 cards that I sent out to him. Another Hall of Famer was Whitey Herzog, this time from the baseball world, as I'd actually gotten a hold of his rookie card originally when Jeff was saying that he might be one of the guests at the Bob Feller Active Valor Awards. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get Herzog for it, but I knew he was a solid TTMer at least for, I think, like $5 or $10 as well. So I mailed that off and got it back. So yeah, once again, he's got that $5, $10 fee, but just a heads up, I was hoping, he might put the Hall of Fame year on that. And yeah, it doesn't look like he does that at all, but a signed rookie card is a signed rookie card. I will take it either way. Hockey, we got Brent Ashton back. There's another one that got sent up to Canada, as you just mentioned there. And I'm like you. I'll if I'm having to pay a little extra postage to Canada, to Europe, anything like that, I'll go a little bit higher on those. I think I had like 4 or 5 cards in there for him, including a set hit, my 88-89 top set.
Yeah, I did 5 cards for Eric Lindros, and they all came back. So I was like, okay, that's awesome.
That's good to know, because I sent out to him about a year ago and haven't seen them yet. He seems to go through spurts, it seems like, of signing, where sometimes he does it and then sometimes he just lets it pile up. So I'm hoping mine will be on the way soon too there. A few more football ones. These were, we got Gene Washington, former wide receiver for a number of teams. I think 49ers was one of his big ones. Just an aside, there are 2 different Gene Washingtons out there, so make sure you're sending to the right one. One of them was with the 49ers and a couple other teams. One was with the Lions and a couple of other teams. And I think they both played pretty much overlapping careers as well, so it can get a little confusing. They're kind of like the 2 Jeff Robinsons that were pitching in the late 80s in baseball.
Or Greg Harris as well.
Yes, exactly. Greg A and Greg W. Harris.
Yep.
I'm glad that 91 score made the delineation between them on there and put the initial on the front there at least.
Mm-hmm.
Also got Al Nelson, who's a defensive back for the Eagles, and I think maybe also the Jets. I know it was at least Eagles. I sent a couple of Eagles cards his way. And Randy Vataha, who is a wide receiver for the Patriots. He's in a lot of the early 70s stuff. Those were both, all 3 of those guys were very quick signers, 2 weeks or less. Got back Václav Nedomansky, another hockey Hall of Famer. I had mailed out his NHL rookie card, which is in the 79-80 top set, and got that signed about a year ago. And came across his WHA rookie card at a decent price. So I figure, hey, let's go for the double rookie card on him. So I've got both those now done by him. Mike Gartner is another one that I sent up to Canada. This was on the Capitals team leaders card, which also was, it's in the same set as his rookie card. So it's technically not his rookie card, but it's the same set. So it's close enough to me. I've got the rookie card already signed. So I figure, all right, we'll go with that second one there too. He took a little bit longer. It was about a 6-month turnaround on that one up to Canada. So patience is a virtue there on some of these guys. And Gartner was one of those. Leonard Russell, former Patriots running back. And actually, I was inspired by Jeff to send that one out because he had gotten Russell just as I was about to see Craig James. And I had this card that had both James and Russell together. I'd say both were running backs wearing 32 for the Patriots. And so I got Craig James on in person, turned around, sent out to Leonard Russell. It came back in about 3 weeks or so to an organization he works with in California, I believe. It's the address is on sportscollectors.net. A few more football ones. I got back J.J. Burden, former wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think he may have been with the Falcons at one point as well. Former Cleveland Browns draft pick, though never played a game with them. John James and John Smith, who were a punter for the Falcons and a kicker for the Patriots, respectively. Got back Mark Nordquist, who is a linebacker, blanking on the team's youth. I think he was a Jet in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, if I remember right. Don't quote me on that one. I could be completely off on that one. Might be the Bears now that I think of it. Either way, I already filed the cards away, so it's like I'm trying to do this all off of memory here. Got back Ron Sutter, one of the 6 Sutter brothers in the NHL. Needed him on his 88-89 Topps card and got that one. Excellent. I think 4 or 5 out of the 6 Sutter brothers are really good signers by mail. And for anybody who likes getting multiplayer cards done, there are several out there that have all 6 Sutter brothers on them. So I've got the 91-92 Upper Deck that I've got signed by 3 of them now. I got actually Ron in person, and then got 2 of the other ones later on. Halfway done on that. Hopefully I can finish that off at some point here if I can find somebody who can help me with, I think it's Brian and I forget, it's Brian and Rich, I think, are the 2 tough ones now, if I remember right. Also got back Glenn Walker, former punter for the Rams. He lives out in California now. And a couple of NASCAR ones to finish out the calendar year of 2023. Got Greg Biffle after a 1-year wait. That was actually, I sent it out, I think it was January 2nd of 2023, and it came back, I think, on like December 29th. So almost the exact full year there to get that one back. But found his way to my mailbox nonetheless. And the last one for me here was Dale Jarrett, who took almost exactly 1,000 days, a 3-year return on that one, 2.5 years to get back to me. So, yeah, got a couple NASCAR guys that are cleaning out the storage box there, I guess.
That's always fun, though. That's always fun when you get those long returns.
Yeah, it's Jared was, I think, the crazy thing is that's only my 15th longest response ever that I've had, or 15th longest success that I've ever had. So, 1,000 days, but totally worth it. I mean, this guy's he's a NASCAR Hall of Famer and everything, second generation great racer and all that. So really happy to add those ones in. So yeah, I've got a stack here that I need to start writing and sending out. I've got, what do we have here? There was, I saw a few successes that were coming in from Kelly Gruber. And so when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I've got the old 1991 starting lineup figure card right there. I've got to send that one out because those are always fun to get done. But I've got him. I've got, who else is there? I want to send a Jim Leland out to him. Congrats on him for the recent Hall of Fame selection. I got some Steve Woodard cards and a whole bunch of vintage baseball here that I've been sitting on for a while. And like, all right, I probably better get on those while I've got some stamps here. So I'll send those out as well. Troy, any plans for anything to send out here soon? I know you mentioned the possibilities of basketball here up soon.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of prepping, especially with stamp prices going up on January 21st. So everything's going up to 68 cents now, I think. So yeah, I've got, I tried, a couple years ago to get these bright blue envelopes to see if that helped the success rate, and that didn't do hardly anything. So I got a few of those to still get it out, but just kind of prepping, got the basketball, and I bought a few older sets of baseball to send out as well. And I think I have some football. I pretty much exhausted all of my 90 and 91 score footballs a couple years ago, because those 2 years have some really great signers in them. And I kind of want to go through and make sure that I got all those out, and maybe look at getting some additional football cards, because I haven't done football in, I want to say, about 5 years. So
yeah. Customizing envelopes like that can be fun too. I know for a while, Bill Nipro, if you drew a Braves logo on the envelope, he would usually pick yours out and even sign for free in some cases. So I tried it. I failed on it, but I had heard a few people having success with that. So you never know when somebody, make yourself stand out like that. Sometimes that can help things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that about wraps up the show here for the week. So Troy, thanks again for joining us here, and looking forward to having more from you. We'll have, I know you're off about the next 3 weeks there with the basketball commitments and everything, but looking forward to definitely working with you here in 2024.
Yeah, me as well. It's great to be back on the mic with you. I had intended to send you and Jeff another message to see, hey, you want to do something else coming up? And obviously this wasn't the way that I had intended, but I'm glad to help keep the show going and to keep people informed about the TTM hobby, because it is a great hobby to get started with, whether you're doing it with your, by yourself or as a family. It's just, it's always fun to see what comes in the mailbox.
It is, for sure. So next week, we'll have Lee Alexander stepping in as the co-host there in Troy's place. We'll be here for the next 3 weeks of the show, I believe. We're also probably going to be joined by Les Wolf. I'll see if I can get him on here. I know he's said he's definitely down for being back on the show. And last show that we had with Jeff, he had mentioned he was going to talk to Les about Baseball Hall of Fame because the ballot had just come out. They just started the voting on that. And, well, now we're about a little over a week away from the final announcement of who's getting in and who's not. So we'll talk to Les a little bit about that if we can. So once again, thanks for tuning in here to TTMcast, and many happy returns, and we'll see you next week.
Everyone, be good.